Every single day in my life, I wake up knowing I'm meant to do something great.
And Jay.
Hey, good morning, T.
Good morning, good morning.
How are you doing?
Blessed.
Like every time I ask that, that's the same thing you say every time.
Consistency is important to me.
Consistency gets results.
Yeah. If you're doing the right things.
Especially if they're like good, positive, healthy results.
100%.
I know you're super busy, so thanks for chatting with me a little bit. I've got the record button on.
We're getting recorded.
Yes,
Nice.
yes, we are.
I'm pumped. I'm excited. You always have great energy. You have amazing questions, and I love talking with people that have layers to them, and you have a lot of depth, which I like.
Well, cool. Thanks, T. I appreciate it, man. So I was just out in San Diego with you to check out your brand new gym. You're a BJJ black belt. You also professionally coach and kind of grow others to reach their goals and be awesome individuals. How did you get into coaching? I know you've always been a super top competitor.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I think that's the first time somebody asked me like kind of a two-part question, like how did I start coaching and when did I know I want to be a coach? Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right.
The first coach or professor that I had in Jiu Jitsu that articulated the art in a way that astonished me. I mean, it absolutely astonished me, was Master Lopez. Master Chris Lopez is a black belt under Professor Gustavo Dantes, who I got my black belt from. He's located in Chandler, and in Arizona, there's a lot of places to train, as are there in California. But as we know, like, there's different styles of academies, there's different types of gyms.
Totally.
And what I got from Master Lopez's gym is I got the true essence of being a martial artist and what it takes to be a martial artist. So even though we had jiu-jitsu classes there, I always saw him like finishing up with the kids. I believe they had weapons classes, they had kids self-defense classes, they had classes that older individuals can take, younger individuals can take, and there was another assistant instructor there by the name of Rob Marchese, and he would always be doing like nunchucks and stuff and weapons and bow staff. So I'm sure we're trying to do our warm-ups, and he's over here getting after it with some like nunchucks and some katas and some forms. And me and my buddy Josh Rodriguez, we'd always like laugh and talk about like, man, Rob's crazy, man. We're trying to focus on our jiu-jitsu, and he's going hard with those nunchucks right now, or he's getting after it with that bow staff. But Rob was as good as a character as they come. He was pretty much Master Lopez's right-hand man, and he was a great instructor himself, still is. But Master Lopez was the one coach that I attest to making me fall in love with the art of teaching. And the reason that is because he epitomized what a true martial artist should be. When you go to his academy, it feels like a dojo. It feels like a small, humble, quaint, and very welcoming gym. Our floors look like they were hardwood, but they're basically just like puzzle mats that had like the cover of hardwood. So it was like, wow, this is unique.
That is unique.
So they weren't the softest mats, so thank God we weren't doing too much judo over there, but we were doing a lot of the fundamentals. So he is so good. I mean, if you want to get your jiu-jitsu game to the next level and get like a solid fundamental game down, I believe there's nobody better than him when it comes to breaking down the basics. That's like white belt, blue belt. He's incredible. He does an incredible job of making complex things sound really simple. And he's very patient, and he's very, very, very caring. Very caring. Huge heart.
Very cool.
Which is what I look up to. I look up to people that are giving, and he gave me a great opportunity. He allowed me to clean his dojo. He allowed me to learn from him. He he privileged me with the opportunity to immerse myself in jiu-jitsu, not just be a part of it. And the way I saw his teaching style, like, I've never been that focused. Like, that's when my focus started to really get built. That's when my attention span, you know, really got dialed in, because when he would teach, I would just put my hand underneath my chin and just stare, like, what is this witchcraft that he's teaching? Like, what is this Della Riva guard? And he breaks down Della Riva guard great. His spider guard is, in my opinion, world class, and he has just such a solid concept of the importance of space and distance management. And that's because he's a martial artist. He's not just a jiu-jitsu black belt. Master Lopez holds black belts in several martial arts. And true story, he brought me outside, and the two biggest things that my first master, because I don't call him just a coach or professor, he's a master, 100%.
Very cool.
He brought me outside, and the best compliment he ever gave me, before we moved to like a bigger location, like we moved next door and we expanded. Before we moved, he said, "Thomas, you have a lot of potential." He goes, "You're great at this, but what makes you special is not your physical attributes. What makes you special is what you have here," and he pointed at my heart, "and what you have here," and then he pointed at my mind. He pointed at my head, and he goes, "And the moment you learn how to sync those two things, that's what's going to make you special." And I didn't comprehend like how profound and how special of a compliment that was, because those weren't words with me. Like, I'm quoting you this from my recollection of white belt. So that was a long time ago.
Right.
You know, that was a long time ago. I'm getting older now, you know, so it's like, when I first started, a lot of people think I started at like 17, 16. No, I just got introduced to it by a girl named Victoria Chapman. She introduced me to jiu-jitsu, but I didn't stick with it because I didn't have the funds to sign up. And at that stage in my life, I was too cool for school, and I wasn't down with grown-up pajama wrestling. I wasn't down with it. I didn't understand it.
I love that. I've never heard that before. Grown-up pajama wrestling.
That's what I do. That's what I do
best.
Professionally. I teach it professionally. Thank you for reminding me of that. I don't just teach it, I teach it professionally. And I also love competing in it. And when I found my love for competition, you know, that's when I moved to Master Lopez's instructor, Professor Gustavo Dantes. That's when I moved over to the BJJ mental coach headquarters, and they build champions over there. That academy it breeds champions. You know, Orlando Montero, monster, absolute monster. Marcio Andres over there now, beast. There's nobody better, in my opinion, than Marcio.
I had the opportunity to take one of his seminars, I think, and man, it was just so far over my head, and I was like, "You're spectacular." Yeah,
and you know what's so great about that? I'm such a big fan because it comes from humble beginnings, and now he just dropped this new line of gis with control, and it's giving glory to God, you know, and that's really special to me, because I don't consider myself the most religious person because I don't go to church every Sunday. But I believe like your connection and your relationship with God has nothing to do with how many times you can recite a Bible verse or how many times you go to church. I believe whatever you believe in, you have to practice that in your own way. So I practice my faith through going towards something, putting my energy towards something I believe in, and talking with God, you know, my form of God, which is that there's a meaning to all this craziness in life. I talk with him every day, and I just express gratitude to him. Right. And as soon as I started doing that, I think things in my life just started changing rapidly, as opposed to, "God, why did this happen? God, can you help me out with that? God, can you do this for me? God, why did everybody else get ahead in life? Like, God, like, why did I get screwed over here? Why did this happen to me?" Like, ask all these questions, and you never get a response back, you know, because really they're your own thoughts. So it's just your thoughts out loud. And I realized that I was my worst enemy. I was my biggest problem.
From what I see, and from with this club that you've created and the following that you already have, like, it's very obvious that you can tell that you are extremely passionate, but also extremely blessed, and you know that. And I think what it looks like is God's given you a great opportunity to not just grow as a person, but also grow so many lives around you. And
including including my own.
Absolutely.
Because I still need a lot of work too, but I couldn't agree with you more.
So I wanted to talk a little bit more about like what your vision is for your gym and, you know, what you're calling this sanctuary, really.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you only spent like 1 or 2 days at the gym. I mean, our time was short, but for you to even see everything that you just said means the world to me. You know, because I don't have that written on the walls. You know, I don't yet. I want to put that up on the walls with the sanctuary. That's important, because that's exactly the feel I want our academy to have. And being here at our academy, you know, this is a place where I don't know what demons or what problems people are fighting outside of the dojo, outside of the gym, outside of wearing their gi. We all have issues. I mean, I'll speak for myself and nobody else. I have a lot of issues. And until you understand how to resolve those issues, you're going to walk around kind of like with a chip on your shoulder. And you're going to kind of be trying to figure out like how to make sense of everything. You know, is it like, do I get my 4-year degree and then parlay that 4-year degree into a great job where then I can take care of my family, and then I can one day hope to get married and then have kids, and then teach those kids how to have manners, how to be respectful, how to have a vision, how to have a purpose, and how to give back. And maybe the same cycle happens again, you know, where they go through high school, they get involved in maybe martial arts or sports, and then they need to, you know, make money of their own. And then they have that decision, you know, do you want to continue your education, or do you want to kind of go a different route? And the different route is always the harder route. The different route is always the one that people will critique. And the different route is always the path that is not really clear. And moving out to California was the different route for me. And I didn't want to go, you know, like I had so much emotional baggage in Arizona that I needed to unpack. And I didn't know how to unpack it. And the only way I knew how to unpack it was to get back doing the things that I love. And the things that I love are simple. It's training, teaching, and competing. I love those things. They make me happy when I'm doing them together. Now, I don't always succeed at all of them. You know, there's plenty of tournaments I lose. There's plenty of times where I'm teaching a lesson. I'm like, man, I could have done that a little better. I could have improved. And there's other times where it's like, man, like, I don't understand, like, how do people do this? How do they afford to take care of themselves? How do they afford to travel and do workshops and seminars and compete and train and do all these cool things? And I realized that, how do I say this? I feel like Instagram and social media was tricking me. It was tricking me into feeling that I wasn't enough.
Absolutely.
And the moment I started comparing myself to others, you're like, shit, like this guy has this, he has that. Man, he's winning all of these tournaments. Wow, she's traveling all of these places. Wow, that's a beautiful relationship. I want a girlfriend where I can travel and do this, that. Like, we just compare. Like, what we already have is all of a sudden not good enough, right? Because we want more, we want better. And what I needed to work out within myself was like being okay with the enough factor. Like, I'm enough in these categories. I prepared enough, I trained enough, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and I'm deserving. Because a lot of my life I felt like unworthy. Right. And, you know, the craziest thing happened is this thing called momentum. And momentum comes from doing something repeatedly over and over, and then building a routine. Mm-hmm. And then after you build that routine, you kind of like stick to it, and then it builds confidence. And then from that confidence, it builds more, I guess, faith, you know, to take more chances and do more decisions. And that's what I did. You know, I got back into training hard, and I got back into working on myself hard and doing the things that I want to do without having to tell the world about it. Just do it. Yeah. And do it for you. You do it for you. Yeah, that's perfect, MJ. Do it for you. And this is something I told everybody in my life I was going to do. I told everybody I was going to do this. And it sucks when you tell everybody you're going to do something and you don't do it. It's like, one day, you know, we're gonna have a big team, or one day I'm gonna be a world champion, or one day I'm gonna own my own academy, or one day I'm gonna be a great father, or one day, you know, I'm gonna be a great mentor, or one day I'm gonna learn how to forgive people. Whatever your goal is gonna take massive decision making, and it's gonna take massive action, and it's gonna take massive amounts of, I guess, vulnerability to admit that we fuck up. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this. Like, we make
That's okay.
mistakes.
I'll
Mistakes.
bleep you out.
Okay, cool. We make mistakes. See, that was a mistake. But if I dwell on it, then I'm stuck in the past.
Right.
And then if I look at the future, it didn't even arrive yet. But that's what keeps, I guess, like, our faith. That's what keeps our motor going, like, what's gonna come. And right now, I'm in a flow state. Meaning, I'm in the present moment every day. Like, you have my undivided attention right now. You have my undivided attention.
Thank you.
I lock myself in a back room. I've put my phone on silent so I can't get interrupted. And, you know, I'm blessed to have my students, you know, watching the front for me. And if anybody comes in, you know, they're going to see a beautiful academy. They're going to see beautiful black zebra mats. They're going to see nice white wall mats. They're going to see a sign that says MVMT, and they're going to say, what's that? And now I have the privilege to tell them, MVMT is me versus me training. Oh, that's cool. But what the heck does that mean? Movement, meaning we train movement. We train Jiu Jitsu, which is a series of movements and positions and techniques. I do yoga every single day in the morning. I practice my gratitude during yoga. It gets my mind right. So I wanted to have that in an academy that people can get both without having to break their budget. You know, because my yoga membership over at Raw Yoga is expensive. You know,
Absolutely.
it's, you know, I pay over $100 for yoga, but I believe it's worth it. I believe it's worth every penny because it helps me with my breathing, it helps me slow down, helps me appreciate, and it helps me practice what I preach, which is gratitude, with that tattooed on my forearm as a constant reminder to be grateful for everything I have. I'm truly grateful. And now I have the ability to help change other people's lives. Because me versus me training, movement is not just a bunch of motions. It's not animal flow. It's not yoga. It's not just a jiu-jitsu academy. It's kind of a mindset. So I included mindset in the vision because it's real. And if people don't think it's real, just ask me where I was 8 months ago. I'll tell you. Not a good spot.
Right.
Not a good spot. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And, you know, there's not a lot of things that you can do in life that are going to eradicate beliefs that you have that somebody maybe planted in your head of, like, you're not good enough, or you can't do this, or you can't do these two things at the same time. You know, and one of those things for me was, you know, being a high-level competitor, but also being a high-level coach. Now, there's anomalies. JT Torres, anomaly, incredible practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Andre Galvao, best of the best. You know, gonna have Murillo Santana, current competitor, incredible coach over at Unity. There's the anomalies everywhere you look. Augusto Mendes, MMA warrior, world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner, instructor, coach, friend. Man, we wear a lot of hats. Like, people, we wear a lot of hats.
Right.
And it's hard to balance all those hats and do all of those hats well. Usually when you're doing one well, it kind of takes away from the other. Right. So what I'm working on myself is I'm working on balance.
That's the most important thing. And I think that's a great thing because it really shows me that you can make a huge, huge impact on so many other people. You can build an awesome gym, you can be an awesome coach, and you can affect a lot of lives.
Thank you for noticing that.
Totally. It's like you are training hard and you're doing something right.
It's simple. It's really, really simple. My workouts, I listen to my body.
Mm-hmm.
I work on recovery. So we actually have an in-house PT here at Movement,
Okay.
which is a blessing, which is a huge blessing. So if you get hurt, you can get seen right away by somebody that understands what we're doing. They understand what an arm bar is. They understand biomechanically what happened during the foot lock. And all you have to do is kind of explain that. That's huge. At least for me. I know when I was in Arizona, I was with several physical therapists, and I, by far, I can say, like, if I didn't have Matt Colby, if I didn't have Os, if I didn't have these people that are willing to treat my body when it got injured, like, my career as a competitor would be over a long time ago. So the recovery is so important. And I think since I added yoga into the regimen, that helps. Taking care of my body, that helps. Listening to my body, that really, really helps. So yeah, like, I love the everyday Pojada mindset, but everyday Pojada doesn't have to be like every round is a war. So I think one of the best guys in the world is Espen, and Espen has beautiful jiu-jitsu. But one thing that fascinated me about Espen is that he hasn't always had black belts at his disposal to be able to train with, like, high level whenever he wants. So I take that philosophy and I take it to heart that you don't need to have a room full of killers to be a killer. What you need is you need to have a proven system, and sometimes you need to change that system if it's not working for you, and you need to go with something that does work for you, not what works for everybody else, not statistically, like, this makes sense. It's like what works for you. I guess the same thing with diets. Like, if somebody's doing keto, it doesn't necessarily mean that if I was to go vegan, or if we were to go, you know, let's just do no more red meat, or let's load up on carbs, or let's cut. Like, everybody has a theory, everybody has a method, and everybody has learned from somebody else, and then they apply it in their own way so that it makes sense to them. You know, and that's what I'm doing. I'm applying things that have worked for me in the past, like where I found the results, and I'm trying to operate effectively and efficiently of, like, these are the things I love, these are the things I enjoy, these are the things that make me happy, and these are the things that maximize my body's responsiveness and my recovery time. So if I keep doing these things, I'm going to keep getting good results. If I take a break from this, then I'm not going to get good results. So I choose go with what works for you and not what a so-called expert thinks works, and listen to your body and see how your body reacts to whatever change you're going to implement or put into your life, and go with that and ride with that for a little bit.
Right.
And don't be afraid to tweak it if it's not working. And for what I'm doing, I feel that it's working. So I'm going to keep doing it. Doesn't mean I can't make adjustments.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to keep doing it. So, you know, band work's important, kettlebell, functional training is important, calisthenics, isometrics. The only area I haven't really dabbled in yet is, like, powerlifting. And I think you did a little bit of that. It's a whole new arena for me. I just don't get as excited about lifting heavy. I know it's important, but I just, if I'm not 100% like into something, I just won't give it the attention it deserves. But when I'm into something, I'm into it.
Absolutely.
I'm into it.
Absolutely.
So
and
that's kind of like, for me, it's been a lot of trial and error to figure out what works.
you work with Coach John Walker Pro.
What doesn't that guy do? What doesn't that guy do? That guy he's a machine. He is a high-level coach in every aspect of the term. He's great at working with, whether it's a teenager or whether it's a mom that wants to lose a little bit of weight, or whether it's a professional athlete, you know, like Kelvin Gastelum. You know, that's a big part of Kelvin Gastelum's camp right there is, you know, you got to be conditioned if you want to be a fighter. There's no shortcut to that. Like, if you're going to be in any type of combat sports, your technique is vitally important. But if you get tired, you can't use the technique.
Totally.
So Coach John Walker, in my opinion, is like my special sauce. He kind of blends everything for me, you know, so there's not like one area of expertise that I rely on him for. Instead, I just go to him with questions because he's been there, he's done it. You know, he's played professional football, and we all know how hard it is to make it into the NFL. And if you're, you know, the only other guy that I saw that was close to him, like kind of close to him, like mindset, mentality, charisma, passion, and dedication to his students, only one other guy, and that's Michael Westbrook. And the common denominator is that these guys were both professional football players, and they both love jiu-jitsu. Michael Westbrook is another GD black belt from Arizona. He is amazing. He's incredible. He's put me through workouts where I wanted to cry, but I had to keep going. I wanted to quit. I wanted to cry. He put me through some miserable training. When I thought I was working hard, I trained with him, and I realized, okay, I'm not really working hard. I thought I was.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah,
you meet people
absolutely.
and it's like, oh my God, you're on another level.
Exactly, and that's him, and I still, we keep in touch from time to time, and, always try to make sure that you're always learning, and you got to be grateful for the people that are in your life right now. You don't know who's going to be in your life later, but you got to be grateful for who you have in your life right now, helping you on your journey, whatever your journey is. And when I found Coach John Walker, he put me through incredible workouts. Boom. Okay. Certified, attested, proven. It's like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Because I've been through a lot of different coaching styles, from the Marinovich style training to, pool training to calisthenics, no weights to you name it. I've tried it, kettlebell training, but you have to find the mix of all those different variations that work for you. And I think what Coach John Walker Pro does well is he builds a system around the athlete. And if you're not an athlete, it's okay. At first, he'll build a system around what you can do, and then he'll start pushing you to different heights on what you didn't think you could do, now you do. And he did that with me in a really short amount of time. If you watch my MMA fight, he was one of the loudest ones, and he predicted the fight was over before it was over. I got on the guy's back, and he's yelling, "That's a wrap, TK, it's a wrap, you got him," and that's a huge confidence boost to have somebody that believes in you so much. The only other belief that's like so unyielding in my life, that is so consistent, is a constant, it doesn't go away, it doesn't fade, is my grandfather. And outside of my grandfather, outside of my blood, outside of my rock, outside of my inspiration, which is my grandfather John Capano, would be Frankie Mercado. Never in my life seen a man like this. He was actually just on a podcast recently, and I see so many similarities to myself in this guy, and I've learned so much from him outside of the fact that he's an elitist at teaching the art of 8 limbs. He's an elitist at being a leader. He's an elitist at cultivating a family, building a culture, developing what martial arts should be about, which is the arts. Like, that's Frankie. And the craziest part is, you look at this guy and you're like, no way, that's Frankie? Don't judge a book by its cover.
That's
Fact.
Awesome. That's
Fact.
awesome.
We know that in jiu-jitsu, there's so many guys we can name that they don't look like killers, but they're monsters. But when you see Frankie, he's over 300 pounds, but he is as good as they come when it comes to striking, breaking down the game of Muay Thai. That's him. That's why I'm honored to work with him over here, at Movement. He was the guy that allowed me to sublease over at his academy and build a program of my own. He kept pushing me towards it. He's like, listen, your jiu-jitsu is not the same. He's like, I've seen a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, a lot. He's like, yours isn't the same. You're on a different level. And I said, I appreciate that. But my confidence was in the gutter. So every time he told me that, I just thought like he was just being nice, But, I needed to work out here. I needed to make some money, and I needed to get back on my feet. Not only financially, I needed to get back on my feet, like in a good, like spiritual way. Like, okay, I feel good about myself again.
Totally.
And he pushed me. And then John Walker came in, and he pushed me. And then the three of us sat in a room, and we basically, visualization is so amazing. We basically, I don't know if we voiced it to the universe, but we basically put out there that we all got hurt in some way, shape, or form in our life.
Okay.
Either from people or from a situation. And then we all put out there that we're homesick. We need a home. And when we put that out into the atmosphere, into the universe, Coach John Walker was saying, this is not a coincidence that we all met. And when he said that, I had like goosebumps. And he's like, I've done this once and I'll do it again. You know, and he built an amazing program. I mean, this guy was the heart, blood, and soul of Motivate, an incredible gym out here in Southern California, an incredible gym. Frankie Mercado, the heart, blood, and soul of MMT, Mercado Muay Thai. And then how do I fit into the mix? Well, I fit into the mix easy. I come into the mix and I love jiu-jitsu so much. I believe in jiu-jitsu so much that I believe that every person on this planet should try at least one lesson. They don't got to stick with it, but they should try at least one lesson. Oh, yeah. Because that's how amazing jiu-jitsu is.
I couldn't agree more, because I know for me, it's an instant hook, you know?
Yes.
You get in there and after your first class, you feel so confident because it's such...
Yes, that's it.
It's one of those things.
You know it. You know what I'm talking about then. The only way you'll find out what I'm talking about is if you try jiu-jitsu. And for me, it changed my life. And I agree with John Walker. You know, yeah, I was homesick. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a place to call my hat. I do feel like an outcast. I do feel different. But that's not going to stop me. So when he put all that out there, it was like, man, yeah, you're right. You just identified what I want. You know what I mean? Like you hit the nail on the head. That is what I want. That is what I want. I want a place to call home. He's like, so then why don't we call this place home? So Coach Jaywalk, myself, and Frankie, we put our heart, blood, and soul into MMT. You know, Mercado Muay Thai. That was our home.
That's great.
That was our headquarters.
And I know it sounds cheesy, but it's like home is where the heart is.
Yeah. No, it's not cheesy. It's more just like you don't have a home unless your heart feels at peace. Absolutely. And now that I have a place to share with others, now that I have a place that I have beautiful mats, I have blessing. Like, this is an absolute blessing. I would never be able to say, okay, I see myself in Orange County teaching jiu-jitsu to dedicated students from the ages of 2 up to people in their late 40s, early 50s. The art, the movement, the training, the grind. Yeah, I don't want to do anything else. Period. This is what I want to do.
Right.
I don't want to do anything else. And now we have it. So it's like, now that we have this is not a vision anymore. It's not a fantasy. It's real. And when you have that, it's like impossible not to have gratitude pouring out of your heart. And that's what I have. That's why when you said you wanted to come down, I was like, yep, John Walker's correct. No coincidences. Accidents don't just happen. You know, they're there for a reason.
Absolutely.
You know, and I love the direction you're going. I love that you're studying people, you're learning from people, you're sharing their story. That's big, MJ. That's big. That's big time.
Well, thanks.
You know, and you're doing it on a great scale, meaning like you're not just doing it for jiu-jitsu people. You're not just doing it for powerlifters or somebody in CrossFit. You're doing it for like sharing the stories of people, and I think that's next level.
I can tell when people are so passionate and so about what they're doing, so much so that it's changed their lives and it's changing other people's lives as well because of the passion that they found. And if they're creating a positive life or monetizing their passion, like that's something to talk about, because not every day people wake up and are so happy to help others around them or so happy to go and constantly be progressive in what they're doing. I mean, some people wake up and do the same shit all over again.
Well, you're not normal people and you're not mediocre, so you shouldn't settle. You know, you should just keep going until, you know, you reach whatever height you want to climb to. And if for you, that's like interview higher and higher level. You know, ask the people that you don't think would give you the time of day. Ask those people, you know, and you'll be surprised that those people that we put on pedestals, they're normal people too.
White belt, did you know that you were going to be where you are today?
I knew I was going to be teaching. I'll be honest with you. I knew I was going to be teaching. Like when I saw Master Lopez, that was it for me. When I saw the way he was as a coach and how much he cared, that was it for me. That's what I needed to see. I was like, this is it. To the point where I would run to the academy every day. I would run to training. My buddy Gerson can attest to this. I've run to his academy. He'd be like, he calls me Par. He's from Guam. Hey, Par, remember when you used to run with like rocks in your backpack? You used to run to the academy? I would run because I was so excited to go train. And then we would train and I would learn so much. And then after I learned, of course I'd volunteer to do the maths. Of course I want to do the maths because I needed to process like all the information that I just absorbed. You can learn a lot in one class. You can learn a lot. And then after I process all that information and your body's tired and your adrenaline settles down, then I would always forget that I ran. And I'm like, man, now I got to run back. It's dark out. It's cold. Your sweat is settling in. So now it's even colder. So yeah, you grow. You make mistakes and you grow. You make mistakes and you grow. You make mistakes and you grow.
Absolutely.
And basically, I guess what people should get from me is like, yeah, I don't give up. And yes, I am proud to say that I'm doing what I always said I would do. I am proud of that. So in my book, yeah, I'm at my level of success, but I'm not complacent. Meaning like there's a lot more work to be done. Like I'm happy that I did what I set out to do, but I'm not done. Like I've just begun. So now it's time to continue to transform people's lives, continue to just give tenfold, continue to practice what you preach, and continue to lead by example. You know, so I plan on still fighting. I plan on still competing. As long as, you know, God blesses me with health and this passion, you know, that you referred to a lot. Yeah, I have that, but like it's not really fading. So since it doesn't fade, it's like, okay, then this is a blessing, right? Since this doesn't go away, you know, we have to just keep going. For me, I have a terrible habit of chronic overthinking. I have chronic overthinking syndrome. I don't even know if that exists, but that's what I have. I overthink to the max, like what I'm going to eat, you know, the lesson plan, competition, outcomes. Sometimes you just got to slow that brain down and you got to say, chill. If you're an overthinker, you need to force yourself to slow down and think slowly and clearly. And I get that through yoga. So that's why yoga is part of the Movement Academy. Yoga is actually a big part of it because that gives me the focus I need and like the inner peace that I need. I guess like the Zen. That's what I get from yoga. And then for anxiety, I have horrible anxiety. I get nervous about everything. Talking to you, not saying the right thing, hurting people's feelings, rubbing people the wrong way. Like I have all those things. Messing up, making a mistake. Like I have all these things.
Totally.
But I think for me, knowing that everybody has it in some way, shape, or form, that's a little bit soothing. Even if people don't talk about it, I know they have it.
Right. And
I don't smoke or do drugs or anything like that. I just do CBD. I'm a big believer in this CBD movement that's going on right now. So with the CBD, the cream really works. Like I have like this like hemp muscle rub cream. Mm-hmm. So instead of like the Tiger's Balm and stuff, like for my recovery, I use the CBD. But there's also other forms of CBD. I just don't do any THC because I don't really want like the psychedelic effects or anything that changes my mind is no good. If you're a little bit crazy and you're looking to enhance that craziness, that's no good. That doesn't blend well. Like right. I'm never gonna do mushrooms. I'm never gonna do anything that alters my state of mind. Besides read, I'll read a ton, but I won't do that kind of stuff. And then the other part is just writing my thoughts on paper so that I can see them. So then I can make them real. So if it's something I want, I write it down. If it's something I'm concerned about, I need to see the severity of like, what am I really concerned about? Absolutely. So when I put it on paper, I can assess like, is this rational or is this very irrational? And I got this technique from reading the book, The Gospel of Fire. So that's Elliot Marshall. He is the owner of a few Easton Academies out in Colorado. And now I have the pleasure of going to meet this incredible entrepreneur, this incredible fighter, this incredible coach. You know, he coaches John Combs out in Colorado. So now I'm going to go meet him the first week of May. And then I'm going to go do a seminar over at Reflex Academy.
So cool. That's awesome.
It's amazing.
That's very cool.
I hope you have a beautiful day, and I can't wait to see you come back out to Cali. So anytime you're anywhere near Laguna, come through, MJ.
All right, I totally will. All right, thanks,
All right,
T.
great seeing you. Thanks for your time.